Hello, Professor. I'm Pablo Gonzalez.
I'm Abraham Hernandez.
And as Juan.
John Incon.
I'm saying,
And this is our 309 final project. And we're going to have Abraham run the demonstration for us. So, Abraham, if you'd like to click run, take it away.
Yeah, so you're greeted by a login panel here. It's connected to an Amazon RDS, which it's using MySQL. It checks if you put in the correct stuff. So if I do capital Billy, but I put in the wrong password and I try to log in, it won't let you log in. So the correct password here, hello123. And then we're greeted with a panel here. All right, so we're going to jump into level one here. John, if you want to start talking about this.
Yeah. So when we do level one, it pops out a little practice quiz. So immediately you see a question and a little diagram and some options that you could choose. So and here you could see like in the very bottom where you could see hints and submit and back button. So let's first off like clicking hint, and it shows us what will pop up will give us a hint for this particular question. And say like we get the answer wrong, so click the first option and submit, and it'll say like the so-and-so answer will be incorrect, try again, and let's submit the same answer or have it wrong, have it go wrong twice more, Abraham. And then it'll give the following message like it'll give you like, oh, the correct answer is composition, and I'll give you the appropriate feedback for the question. If you press OK, I'll move on to the second question. And say if you do get the answer correct the first time, click on the first one, Abraham. And it'll say, oh, the answer is correct. And it'll also give you additional feedback information on the question. And this will go on for 5 questions in total. And if we press back, that'll take us back to the main page, and it'll ask you, hey, do you want to exit? If you haven't finished the quiz yet, and if you click yes, then it's going to give you your current grade of the score of the quiz.
Cool. And then on to level two. Here's a type of question where it's based off just simple instructions and you draw a UML diagram. We only have 3 questions set up right now, but if we click, let's say the third one, which is a very simple one, it says, please create 2 classes, John and human. John should inherit from human. If we do John without the human and we try to ask for a hint here, it'll tell you, consider your boxes, which in this case would be the classes. Let's say we have John and human, and we click help again. It says, consider your inheritance connections. Now, if we hit the correct answer here, we do John, inheritance, human, and we ask for help, it's all correct. So you can go ahead and hit submit, and if it's correct, it will take you back. Obviously, if you just click back, it'll take you back to that. And it's a very simple class that allows you to essentially put in any type of question, and check whether the question is right or wrong. It's like a very silhouette, like a simple bone structure, so that you can easily implement this into anything else that you have. Yeah. So if we're going to go on to level 3 here, Singh, if you want to start talking about it.
sure. So this is basically on the left. Could you scroll up on the left, Abraham? Yeah, on the left, it will be a preloaded data of it's like, this is like a replica of the Java file of the code we want to implement. And on the right, we have 2 panels. Technically that 2 panels will show when we click submit, but right now for the sake of just the demo, on the top is the answers, and on the bottom is the students' answer when they click submit. So Abraham, could you go ahead and create 3 classes according to the questions? There's a table, there's a chair, and there's a bowl. And we'll do the correct answers we'll maybe do one incorrect answer. But first, we see table extends chair. So when we click on table, we create inheritance relationship with chair. And we click submit. So everything will show here. So we have the relationships, the variables, and the methods. And this is correct. We will have a correct arrow beside it. And why don't we go ahead and do the next one where you see a composition relationship with bowl and table. So let's do that. Yep. And we click submit again. And that should update, and it is also correct. And for the last one, let's see. For the class chair, there is an association relationship with itself. So we're gonna do that. But could you cancel? We just do an incorrect one. Make this incorrect. Yeah, just close it. Click on bowl again. We don't want to do association instead. We want to do, let's say, inheritance, which is incorrect with itself. Oh, chair. Oh, wait, you clicked the bowl, right? Never mind. How about we try to submit? Can we scroll up? Because it updated the bowl. So it doesn't have a relationship of inheritance of chair. We can try to do the chair again, Abraham. Make an inheritance with itself, which is incorrect. And update. Submit. So we also see an incorrect where there is an X arrow at the side. And I'm not entirely done with this. I'll have to add the tips, the hint feature. And I'll probably add a few more preloaded questions where they can, if they're done with this, they can select another one, which loads up another preloaded data on the left, and where it's a different diagram they can draw. And this is basically it.
Yes, so finally moving on to the View Masters button. This is where we would see the metrics and the proficiencies for each student. It's not completely functional right now because the only question level where we've been keeping track of correct answers so far is level 1, but we will be working on implementing that in the future. Students can achieve up to 10 mastery points for every question they get right from each level, and it'll be tracked on this bar here that they can check at any time. And we're hoping that instructors would be able to see this as well.
Now, Abraham, if you'd like to scroll in your IntelliJ to the test folder, we can see here that we have an assortment of tests for the functions in the project that kind of return things or do math. A lot of the stuff with Java Swing isn't testable with JUnit, so we tried to do as much of it as we could, try to cover as much of our code lines as we could. And if you want to right click on the Java folder, Abraham, right there, yeah. And you want to run all tests with coverage. Oh, there you go. It will come up with a pop-up. If you want to expand that out a little bit, we can see that for the classes that have methods and code that is easily testable with JUnit, we can see our coverage right here. We are recording this video on Monday, so we still have a little bit more time to add some more test cases, get some more statement coverage, some more decision condition coverage. There's a few if statements that our current tests don't hit both the true and false conditions. So we'll be looking into adding some more over the next day or so. But yeah, this is what our current testing situation looks like. And if you want to go real fast, Abraham, please, to our POM file in the IntelliJ. I'll be able to show the Maven integration that we've added. Yeah, if you just want to click the minus, yeah. Here's the Maven integration that we've added. Here's our project object model file, listing our dependencies, which are just the JFree chart to make the charts to show the masteries. JUnit, of course, for testing purposes, and just some build information about which version of Java and things like that. So now, please, if you could go over to the GitHub, Abraham. Thank you. And here we go. Here is our GitHub. We have a bunch of branches. If you want to click on that branch, yeah, a bunch of branches to show that, we were trying to be as good as we could, as good as we were able to be about keeping things kind of clean on a GitHub repository. Still ran into some trouble here and there, but for the most part, we got it to work. And if you want to go into the Actions tab, please, Abraham. Here we can see our continuous integration with Maven. If you want to scroll like to the bottom, you might have to go to the second page, second and third page. It wasn't for a while that we were able to figure out what was wrong. You'll start seeing a bunch of X's. It wasn't for a while that we were able to figure out what was wrong. But after playing around with the POM file and one of the other files that Maven creates, editing kind of the Java versions, et cetera, we were able to get it up and running here on GitHub Actions. And, every so often we would push some code that would break something. But for the most part, as you get towards the more recent merges, you'll start to see that we started figuring out how to, keep our code working with the current test cases, and making sure that, everything was working as it should be. So that, I think, handles everything on GitHub. And now we're going to go over to our Taiga, where Anis will describe a little bit more.
Yeah, so in tandem with GitHub issues and Taiga, we kind of used Invest and user stories to kind of write out what we envisioned for our product. So on the instructor side, we wanted to be able to submit questions, but of course we didn't get to that. And other implementations, like students wanting to see their progress on a question, wanting hints on how to complete a question, wanting their answers validated, meaning was it correct or incorrect, and stuff like that. So we split up our sprints by months. I know it's a bit of a longer sprint, but because of schoolwork and other commitments that we had, we felt like it was best if we divided our sprints by months and dedicated ourselves to working on these user stories. So if you could go back to our Scrum real quick and show what our February sprint looks like. Yeah, just click on Scrum. Scroll down until you find the closed sprints. During our original sprints, we worked on a lot of GUI stuff and foundational stuff to just get stuff up and running, and then you can go back to our March sprint. Going back to our March sprints, we actually started working on the functionalities for the questions, validations, question set databases, and all of that stuff. And we weren't if you click on our Burndown chart, we were unfortunately not super diligent about updating our chart until the end of every sprint. We were more focused on getting it working and testing and making sure it was updated on everyone's machines. So we were more focused on actually coding rather than updating our sprints, unfortunately, but we were able to get most of the functionality done.
So that will do it for us. Thank you so much, Professor.